Hello again. My name is Colin. You are watching Chicago Reacts, and today I'm going to be watching the presidential assassination nobody talks about. That'll be interesting to hear. I know that there are a few presidential assassinations that aren't as well known. You know, the most famous ones off the top of my head: Kennedy, Lincoln. That's pretty much it. So, of the others, I know there's more. Of the others, I'm interested to find out which one we're going to be learning about today. So, without further ado, here is presidential assassination nobody talks about.
This video is sponsored by Skillshare.
Hey kids, John Wilkes Booth, Lee Harvey Oswald, Hitler, all people who gained massive notoriety by killing one of history's famous leaders. But there are two Americans who committed an equally heinous
It took me a second to get the Hitler joke, but that was a good one. That was good. Clever.
crime as these three, yet their stories are seldom remembered, mostly because nobody really cares about the presidents they killed. Originally I was going to talk about both of them, but the video ended up being way too long, so today we'll just stick to this one, I guess. Charles J. Guiteau was a pretty silly guy, and to understand how a guy could be so silly, you gotta start with his youth. Guiteau was born in Freeport, Illinois in 1841. His mom had postpartum psychosis and died when he was 7, alongside 3 of his 5 siblings.
Is that postpartum psychosis? Is that what they used to call postpartum depression?
His dad, meanwhile, was mega religious and made a
Also, side note, I don't know if there's another video I'll have to react to, but did you know the chainsaw was invented to assist in childbirth? That is a wild, crazy, and disturbing fact that I wish I didn't know.
a big point out of instilling those values in his son, often physically. This influence molded Charles into a boy who sought nothing short of total approval from others, and who would react very harshly to any criticism levied upon him. As a teen, he moved to Ann Arbor, Michigan for high school. He tried to get into the University of Michigan, but he goofed on the entrance exam, so he did what anyone in his situation
Hang on a second. I didn't catch what that piece of paper said.
of Michigan, but he goofed
What is the capital of Michigan? M. If your mother gave you 5 10-cent pieces, 7 5-cent pieces, and 12 1-cent pieces, how much money would you have? My mom's dead, LOL. Okay, yeah. Okay. Hilarious.
on the entrance exam. So he did what anyone in his situation would do and said, well, so much for real life. I'm gonna join a commune. Specifically, he became part of the Oneida community in New York. In some aspects, this place was a pretty run-of-the-mill religious fellowship. From each according to their ability, to each according to their need, yada yada. But there were a couple of things that made it special. First off, they followed a doctrine known as Christian perfectionism, whereby everyone would strive to live their lives completely free of sin and
Sounds like the place where they invented cornflakes. That's what I was trying to think of. Sounds like the same type of people.
reach a divine level of perfection while still on Earth. Now this isn't really unique to Oneida, but whereas most people would achieve this through staunch discipline and careful self-reflection, these guys would just get together and take turns roasting the shit out of each and every member over any minute flaw they could possibly have. Real great for the psyche. They also practiced what was basically an early form of eugenics, where aspiring parents would have to submit an application and be judged by the committee on their moral and spiritual fortitude. If they were allowed to mate, children would be separated from the mom about a year after birth and raised communally in the children's wing. After all, wouldn't want any of those hopelessly flawed toddlers to think they're deserving of any affection whatsoever. Oneida also believed in what they called free love, which meant that anyone could bang anyone at any time, as long as they kept it hetero, and exclusive relationships of any kind were actually frowned upon, which seems like kind of a weird habit for people trying to 100% FC this whole Christianity thing, but whatever. But wait, you're saying, how can you have selective breeding at the same time as extremely unselective breeding? Aha, see, that's where male continence comes in. Under this rule, a pair could go at it for as long as they wanted, with the caveat that the dude's not allowed to nut, pull out or otherwise. That way, it's not a sin. After all, as the Bible says, if the dick don't spit, you must acquit. Paradoxically, no such rule existed for the women.
That's a new one. That is a new phrase I have not heard. But yeah, what a wild commune and philosophy here. It also doesn't sound unfamiliar to shit that's still going on today. Yeah. Anyhow,
In fact, not only did
some things never change.
the commune believe in female orgasms, they actually prioritize them, which is like unheard of in the 19th century. They'd even have the
Wow.
middle-aged women of the society train the teen boys in the art of holding in the old pelvic sneeze. That way, there wouldn't be any chance of conception in case the guy goofs up his first few tries. So anyway, young Gito joins this whole thing, and endured countless blows to his massive yet fragile ego, thinking he's at least gonna get a piece of this communal action. Except, the criticism towards him wasn't just a formality like it was for others. Everyone there genuinely fucking hated him, on account of the fact that he was a raving neurotic narcissist. He never caught a single piece of this allegedly free love, and after a while, they all started calling him Charles Get Out in the hopes that he'd leave. This is real. And after 5 long years of this abuse,
Oh man. I mean, there in adolescence and childhood, you're faced with all kinds of, ridiculous nicknames, but in full-on adulthood, to be called a name like that, oh man, that would crush my ego. But this guy is, as described in the video, narcissist. So maybe it didn't phase him at all. Who knows?
Guiteau finally got the hint and moved to New Jersey. He tried starting a newspaper themed around the Oneida religion called the Daily Theocrat, except nobody cared, so that failed. He went back to Oneida and tried to sue the place in order to get back pay for all his voluntary unpaid labor while living there, but apparently I'm mad butthurt isn't a valid reason for prosecution, so that went nowhere. Finally he said, well, when your devotion to
I mean, maybe back then, but there have been a lot of. I mean, I'm worried about getting into politics here, but there have been a lot of people who've been contesting these elections and getting shot down time after time after time, and they just keep going at it because supposedly they're butthurt. I don't know. Some things just never change. Humanity, man.
God has failed you, there's only one path in life left. Time to become a lawyer. He managed to pass an examination to gain admission to the Illinois bar, and subsequently joined a law firm in Chicago at the age of 27, where he met his soon-to-be wife, one Annie Bunn. Of course, Guiteau never really got to be a lawyer. He only argued in one actual court case. Most of his time was spent doing bill collection.
I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm pausing a lot now, but is there not like a mall food court item called like Annie's Buns or something like that? Annie's. Anyway, let me know in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. Annie's something in the food court, like pretzels, Annie's pretzels, I don't know, whatever.
For random clients.
Sorry.
This job gave him insight into how debtors think and operate, which allowed him to turn into quite the con man, dodging bills whenever and wherever he saw the opportunity. Even on the job, he'd frequently charge exorbitant contingency fees after the fact, upwards of 75%. And sometimes he'd just keep it all and completely ghost his clients. After all, what are they gonna do? Send another bill collector? Well, it turns out they did, so Guiteau and his wife fled to New York. Here he ditched law and started getting into politics. Specifically, he wrote and delivered a speech in favor of Horace Greeley, the 1872 Democratic presidential candidate, and he somehow got it in his head that if Greeley won, his campaign would be so greatly indebted to him that they'd fulfill his desires to be the Minister of Chile, as though a total rando like him could just, name a job and it would be his. In reality, the speech was an incoherent.
Now, I assume by Chile he means like the country, not like the food item. Minister of Chile. I mean, if you want to be a minister of a food item like chili, if chili is a great thing to be a minister of, I guess. I don't know. Someone let me know if I'm being a total fucking idiot. I know they're spelled differently. I don't know off the top of my head how exactly they are. So I'm dumb as fuck. Let me know just how dumb I am in the comments.
Mess heard by next to no one, and Greeley lost by a landslide. As the years passed, Annie got real sick of living life on the run with a broke-ass bitch, and Charles was none too keen on her weighing him down either. But back in the day, you couldn't just divorce someone willy-nilly, you needed a valid reason for it. So Charles concocted the brilliant scheme of banging a prostitute and then having her testify in court. The plan worked, with the pair successfully divorcing in 1874, and the only downside was syphilis. Whoops. Guiteau started dabbling in theology again around this time. He published a book called
Fuck around and find out, right?
The Truth, which was almost entirely plagiarized directly from John Noyes, the founder of the Oneida community. But despite being a man of God, Guiteau was still very much a two-time varmint, and moved frequently in the dead of night to keep collectors off his tail. His brother caught wind of this and wrote him a letter basically saying, hey, maybe you should pay your bills now and then so you can be, a functioning member of society. To which Charles replied, and I quote, "Find $7 enclosed, stick it up your bunghole and wipe your nose on it, and that will remind you of the estimation in which you are held by Charles J. Guiteau." God damn.
That I gotta admit that is a good that's a good comeback there.
And to his own brother, the madman. Soon after, he got arrested, bailed out by his sister, lived with her for a few months, attacked her with an axe, went to DC, rambled about religion to anyone who would listen, moved to Boston, got in a boat accident where everyone in his boat was fine, but everyone in the other one fucking died, took this as a sign from God, moved back to New York, and got back into politics in 1880, this time as a Republican. During this campaign, there were two main factions of Republicans, known as the Stalwarts and the Half-Breeds, which sounds like some Tolkien shit. Wish we had names like that today. Now, Guiteau considered himself a stalwart, and in a similar vein to his 1872 venture, he wrote a speech to promote stalwart candidate Ulysses S. Grant, who was shooting for his third term. But before he got a chance to deliver the speech, one James A. Garfield took the candidacy completely out of nowhere, beating out both factions single-handedly. He was like, rats, how am I gonna get power handed to me now? So he literally just scribbled out all the references to Grant and replaced them with Garfield and was like, yep, that'll do it. He read this speech all of twice, along with handing out copies to the Republican National Committee. In reality, this really didn't accomplish much, but when Garfield managed to win the election, Guiteau was like, yes! That was entirely me! Garfield is in my supreme debt. As God is my witness, he shall make me a consulate in Vienna, or Paris, or someplace cool like that. He went to DC to await his inevitable appointment, but obviously nothing happened. So, he started writing letters. A lot of letters. When that didn't work, he started actually stalking both Garfield and the Secretary of State, James Blaine, intercepting them in hotel lobbies, just being like, oh, hey, yeah, it's me, the sole person responsible for your success. Say, how about a consulship? Alright, you'll get back to me, I get it. Whoa, haha. What a coincidence. Me again. How's that consulship coming? At first they simply ignored him, but eventually Blaine snapped, screaming, never speak to me again on the Paris consulship as long as you live. Damn you, Garfield! I sense a disturbance in the force. Maybe daylight savings just made Monday an hour longer. Wow, Garfield, that was quite the wisecrack. It's amazing how you managed to keep things fresh year after year. Burn in hell, beige dog. At this point, Guiteau completely renounced any faith in the current administration, and after a lifetime of clout chasing met only with disappointment, he decided his only option was straight up going postal. He convinced himself that it was now God's will to remove Garfield from this mortal plane, in order to put his stalwart vice president, Chester Alan Arthur, into power. When he went to buy a revolver, he was given the choice between a wood grip and an ivory grip. He went with the ivory one for no other reason than he thought it would look cooler in a museum, and on July 2nd, 1881, he ambushed Garfield at the Baltimore and Potomac Railroad Station, shooting him twice in the back and mortally wounding him, all because he wouldn't give him a job. Garfield managed to hang on for 11 weeks before finally dying, which sounds like hell. Today's modern physicians actually believe that Garfield could have easily survived the incident if it weren't for doctors digging through him with unsanitized tools. Hey, modern medicine, thanks for not being worse than literally no medicine.
Good lord. 11 weeks. Good fucking shit.
It means a lot. But that didn't stop Guiteau.
Again, I think this is around the era, like I mentioned before, where they invented chainsaws to assist in childbirth. So thank God modern medicine has progressed. Yeah, progressed.
From being formally charged with murder. And that's exactly what he wanted. Matter of fact, Guiteau was over the moon, taking his new nationwide infamy as the fame he always deserved. His trial was just bananas, with Guiteau hurling obscenities at just about everyone there, including his own defense team, and formatting his testimony as an epic poem which he recited in full. He even dictated an autobiography to the New York Herald, which, get this, he ended with a personal ad for a nice Christian lady under 30 years of age. What a baller. When the guilty verdict verdict was read, he called everybody there low consummate jackasses. And on June 30th, 1882, Guiteau smiled and waved to his adoring fans as he was walked to the gallows, where he recited a repetitive, deranged poem he wrote that morning, which was performed in a high-pitched falsetto voice, since it was written in the point of view of a child.
No
He asked
way.
for a full orchestra to play during the reading, which I don't have to tell you that went nowhere. And promptly thereafter, he was hung.
I can't even imagine the vibe of being, I guess, a spectator of that, because public executions and whatnot, but to witness a person about to be executed who is reading a poem that they read in a falsetto voice. People are crazy. People are wild.
When the gallows dropped, people were probably like, ugh, Jesus, it's finally over. I just came here for a nice little execution. They subject me to all that? I want my money back, frankly. So it just goes to show, you can't always get what you want. Unless that thing is getting everyone to hate you, that's extraordinarily easy. But for everything else, you're gonna need a combination of hard work and know-how. While the former must ultimately come from within, there's plenty of resources out there for the latter. The best of which is a seldom talked about little startup called Skillshare. Sponsor time. Skillshare is an online learning community with over 25,000 classes in design, business, technology, and more. Premium membership gives you unlimited access to high-quality classes on must-know topics, so you can improve your skills, unlock new opportunities, and do the work you love. A wise philosopher once said that the most fulfilling pursuit in life is to get to know oneself. Nah, I just made that up. Sounds legit though, right? Now, mindfulness and meditation.
Well, I mean, there was the whole an unexamined life is not worth living, Socrates. So
Are all well
kind of
and
the same
good.
thing.
But how about drawing as self-discovery? Sounds hokey, but I can tell you that I've certainly learned a lot about myself over the years doing this thing, so I'm sure you will too. Join the more than 7 million people already learning on Skillshare today with a special offer just for my viewers. Everyone who visits the link in the description can get 2 months of unlimited access to the 25,000 plus classes on Skillshare for absolutely free. So please, release that tension and get that comprehension today. Anyway, that's all for today. Till next time, I'm Salmonella, and I oop and I oop.
Okay. So, yeah, that was an interesting video. Yeah, that dude there, not somebody I would personally want to know or interact with, although I'm sure we all have met someone like that. Boy. I can't even like wrap my thoughts around people like that. I'm just like it. Anywho, another great video by Mr. Salmonella. Should I stop saying Mr. Salmonella? Maybe I should just Salmonella. Let's go with that. I do like this guy's videos. I think I've mentioned in another video that I've reacted to, but I'm curious, is this just one person that's doing this? Is it a team of people? Is this person doing all of the drawings and animations by themselves? Also, so there's the stick figure character of Salmonella with the hair. We can distinguish him by the hair. I want to know, is that what his hair actually looks like? Is it at least what it did look like when he first started making these videos? Like, I don't know. Who is Sam Onella? You tell me. Anywho, again, if you haven't already, like, share, and subscribe. Specifically, if you'd like to see more videos like this, like it. My name is Colin. Be sure to start, I don't know, searching me. Why not? And Chicago Reacts. I'm just rambling on too much. I'm getting used to this stuff. Anywho, let's go through the patrons, because thank you. They make this all happen. So here are the patrons. Thank you, patrons.